Fluttershy couldn't recall the hours that had passed since he left the tunnel and moved into a small passage with a sheer drop on the right side, disappearing into the darkness. She saw glances of statues of Earth, Pegasus, and unicorn ponies on the left side, all in armor, looking proud in their pose. But she ignored them. Her mind was a whirlwind of activity as she tried to process what she had just been told. She was a Pegasus pony that would literally never hurt a fly. Now she couldn't get around the fact that she is the descendant of an order of warriors, given enhanced abilities by a dragon thousands of years ago. She couldn't believe it. A part of her refused to believe it, but yet it made all complete sense to her. The ability to be fireproof was a dragon ability, since he had seen Spike perform it several times. Their eyesight and hearing was more powerful than any pony on the planet. So maybe she was a Dragon Lord. If she was, would that mean she would have to fight and kill something? She shuddered at the thought. The idea of killing a pony, or any creature for that matter, repulsed her. She was not a killer. All she wanted to do was help creatures, not destroy them. So knowing that she was born from a family of warriors and trained killers made her feel somewhat cold. She placed a hoof on her hand and groaned as she started to feel a headache coming on. I have a few questions, she said, breaking the silence. Firewing stopped his humming and looked at her, but far away. Firstly, why do you name Dragonlords? We're not masters over them, are we? And considering the events of season 6, that's the whole title's gotta be odd. I know. After the defeat of Hemda, the ponies gathered together to decide a name for the newfound order. After a while, one Pegasus came up with the idea of Dragonlords, to say that they could defeat what once was the greatest warriors on Terra. A bit boastful, I know, but it stuck. So in a sense we are, and in another we're not. And another thing, when I tried out Draconic for my friend Spike, he didn't understand a word. Firewing gave her a confused look. Who's Spike? Oh, yeah, he's my friend's baby dragon, an assistant given to her from an egg by Princess Celestia. Firewing answered. So what I was saying is, why didn't he understand it? It was a language for dragons, I mean. Oh, I see. Firstly, Draconic died out when the Tiger Kingdom died. The only reason Dragonlords can speak is because when Vedar sacrificed himself, his soul went into each of the ponies, and included not only his abilities, but also his language. Alright, two more things. My stare sounds familiar to the dragon stare. Why was it called that, and why did I have it before I was a Dragon Lord? Some ponies have abilities, like greater healing or the dragon stare from birth. It's how Dragon Lords out in the world find new members. The Dragon Stare was the one you were born with, and the Dragon Stare was called that because dragons were once able to use it and send entire armies running. Fortunately, not anymore. So like hockey, basically. First I nodded understanding. You said I had the abilities of a Dragon Lord. So, does that make me one as well? Yes and no. Fireway replied, tilting his head to the left, then to the right. While it's true you have the abilities of one, the Codex states you are not officially a Dragon Lord until you pass the test. Fluttershy tilted her head slightly, eyes narrowed in curiosity. What sort of test? Firewing hesitated. He knew that just by looking into her eyes, he saw Fluttershy, not the final type. He knew this test was going to be hard on her, and knew she would not like it. But she wanted to know, and wasn't going to lie. He was a terrible liar. Firstly, when a Dragon Lord finds a potential recruit, somebody with something that gives them away, like a dragon stare, they're taken here and placed on the fire. Firewing pointed to the left of him, and Fluttershy took her eyes off and followed the other Pegasus hoof. She gasped at what she saw. At the center of a large pit that plummeted into the darkness was a white stone tower, with rings of ash, black and dust lying all over the top. A potential recruit is placed in the center of the circle. Firewing explained. One hoof gestures towards the tower. The circle is filled with wood and set on fire. The pony would then rise from the ashes and walk through the fire, only to collapse and sink for a month. We call it a reaper. You die in the fire, then rise up again. Like a phoenix, Fireshine whispered. Firewing nodded with a grin. Exactly. Reborn. First I thought of the word.
especially to her now. It's a miracle and a curse. She was given one more chance to see the world, but also condemned to fight many of its creatures. That is, if there wasn't a way out of it. So what's the test? She asked once again, a hint of impatience.
I was getting into that. Anyway, the pony wakes up after a month of sleep, and after a few days' rest training is given a test. They have to find and defeat a dragon to prove that they are indeed masters of what once were the greatest warriors on the planet. You see, it is an old belief that if a dragon lord can defeat a dragon, they can defeat anything, making us the greatest warriors on Terra.
Firewing finished, voice not hiding his pride. So I had to fight and kill a dragon? Firesight said, already planning on backing out. Firewing shook his head.
No, originally it was to kill one, but after a while it was seen as hypocritical and vulgar. It became a practice to find and defeat a dragon, preferably to wound one, with killing one a choice if all other ones had been exhausted.
But wait, Firesight held up a huff. Taking care of two dragons in my life. Don't they count?
Sorry, but no.
Firewing said with a single huff.
For some reason, they are a part of your old life, or past life as it was called. They won't count as helping you pass the test. Every Dragon Lord, no matter how old they are, has to take it.
Firewing adjusted for Firesight to follow through a small passage that was just big enough for the two to walk alongside each other. So, Firesight began but hesitated, trying to think of a way to word what she wanted out of fear of causing offense. What if you didn't want to be a Dragon Lord? What if you wanted to lead the life you once had?
Good question for the shy.
Firewing said with a smile.
A Dragon Lord doesn't have a choice, really. They are born with it. These abilities are a gift handed down from father or mother to their children. There are times, though, which are called retirement periods, where you can have a few years off and do your normal life for a while until you're ready to go back.
Firesight felt her heart drop into her stomach. Ears fell flat as he prayed Firewing couldn't see the devastation in her eyes. You mean there's no going back? Firewing shook his head.
To do so would be to kill yourself. And believe me, it's been tried. Like I said, it's part of your blood, your heritage. It's part of you no more than the cutie marks on your flanks.
Firesight didn't listen. Instead, all she heard were the sounds of death. Not a physical death, but one of a life never to return. Her life, her once peaceful, sweet, loving life, tending to her animals and enjoying the time with her friends, lying on her back in the fields, watching the clouds go by, listening to the sound of birds chirping, now gone, but a distant memory, taken away in a split second by a dragon with fire coming out of his mouth. Ghosteye walked behind Firewing sulkily with her head and hair low to the ground. You know, the use of dragons in here is better not only than all of Mycon's, but better than spiders and magic any day of the freaking week. Another half an hour later, they made it out of the plain passes and arrived in a huge chamber, where two towers attached to each other resided. The first one was smaller with a gate leading inside, while the other behind it was so high the top half disappeared out of sight. The walls were old and were deteriorating in some places. Moss hanging from the sides, and the gate was nowhere to be seen.
The tower leads up to the highlands.
Firewing said as they walked towards the front entrance.
We'll rest here for the night. In the morning, set off to find the next key.
Firesight was relieved to say the least. She recalled she hadn't slept in 2 days and now begun to feel tired, and the headache was getting worse. She hoped they were really comfortable beds. She felt like she could sleep for days, even months. As they walked to the first tower, Firesight expected it to be full of Dragonlords. A few alchemy tables stood where unicorn ponies would stand by and experiment on potions. A forge fully lit, and a weapon rack full of swords, spears, bows, and crossbows, all of them filled by what would now be her family. Instead, it was empty, barren of life, and it seemed to have been for a long time. Firesight turned to Firewing and gave him an odd look. So, when do I meet other Dragonlords? Firewing's ears went down, and he gave away his sorrow.
I'm afraid you won't, Father Sigh.
He sighed.
For you see, the Dragonlord Order has been at a rapid decline for a long time now. The only other Dragonlords I know today is you.
Firesight's jaw dropped. You're saying we're the last? Firewing nodded solemnly.
For a good 15 years, I always thought I was the last of the order. So you can imagine my surprise and joy when you came along claiming these abilities.
Finally, we walked further in the room. My fireside entered the cold, damp tower.
One thing I forgot to mention is, as part of the training, veteran Dragonlords take a newer member under his or her wing and guide them until they are ready for the test. I would be honored if you would allow me to teach you. If you're alright with it, that is.
Fireside gave him a half-hearted smile. It's not like I have any choice now, do I? She thought, yes, I like that. No, not until Trixie is here. You're not going to complain about possible romance between an OC and Fluttershy. Setting up. Finally, smiled in return. Began walking up the stairs towards the taller tower. Fireside followed closely behind. I don't understand, though, she said. How could we be the last Dragonlords? It sounded like they were, well, invincible.
Hmm, I guess I did, didn't I?
He said mostly to himself. He turned to face Fireside with sad eyes.
In a way we were. But like the wise man I know said, we're only ponies. We make mistakes.
Sailor wink, making Fireside giggle and bless.
No one is truly invincible for the side. As for the decline of the order, I cannot say why. Over the past few hundred years, Dragonlord fortresses have been destroyed, leaving no survivors. I can't really say how, but I feel dragons may be responsible.
How can you come to that conclusion? Fireside asked. Dragons are passive aggressive. They only attack unless attacked themselves.
It has to do with the keys.
Firewing answered quietly, continuing to head up the stairs once more. Guided Fluttershy into a large circular room that lay at the top of the stairs. The furthest point from the door was a large fireplace, the remains of ash still visible from the bottom. Around the room were beds. 3 of them were broken and rotting away, but a few of the others were still in surprisingly good condition. While at the center of the room was a long, thin wooden table with rusty blades, coloring rusty in a holder at center. The table was still in great condition, with no sign of rotten wood.
We'll rest here for a while. Then once we've rested, we'll go on.
Firewing declared. He turned to face his yellow companion.
Have you eaten at all today?
A growl from Fluttershy's stomach gave him his answer. Fluttershy blushed crimson red and shied away from behind her mane. Firewing couldn't help but chuckle.
Why don't you get some rest? While I find something to eat, dear?
Fluttershy nodded and moved towards the comfortable-looking bed. The moment her eyes rested on it, she did realize how long she had been going without sleep, and how tired she really was. She took off her saddlebags and hopped on one of the beds, crouching under the dusty covers, falling to sleep so fast she didn't even hear Firewing leave. A few hours later, Fluttershy awoke to the smell of steamed lettuce and hay, something else she couldn't put a hoof on. She smiled as she felt her headache had gone, her head feeling light and not in a ray of activity for once. She lifted herself out of bed to see Firewing working around the fireplace with a spoon in his mouth, stirring the small pot that rested just above it. His face was so close to the fire, any pony who didn't know him would fear he would get burned. But Fireside knew working around the fire wasn't a problem. Not for him or her anymore. She got out of bed and yawned. Then, after stretching out her legs, went to the table. Good morning, Firewing. She greeted the other Pegasus warmly. Firewing jumped, picking his head on the arse of the fireplace. Ouch! He scrambled out of the fireplace with a sofa on his head, leaving a Fluttershy with an annoyed expression.
Should have said Fluttershy. Then no one can teach you not to startle other ponies.
Fluttershy looked away bashfully. Sorry, Firewing. I just thought you might be able to hear me, since we had the same hearing as all. Firewing shook his hoof off his head and chuckled to himself.
Yes, but not everyone pony is as young as you are. When you get to my age, you'll probably start to lose your hearing.
Fluttershy looked down with a heavy dose of confusion. Firewing looked at a pony in his 30 or so late 40s. So why would he be losing his hearing at his age so quickly? Unless he plays really loud music. Fluttershy thought with a music tickle.
What's so funny?
Firewing inquired. Nothing, Fluttershy said with a shaker hoof. Just thinking. Do you like rock music?
Odd question, Firewing thought,
Raising an eyebrow.
but a fair.
He nodded.
Yes, my favorite band of all time is the Crazy Horses. Really bites, but to see them live once.
Fluttershy put on a smile, although she didn't look like it was quite the rocker. Always said banging to the same rock song that brought her, or heard from earlier when she was alone, being too shy to do it in front of her friends. Something puzzled her greatly, and her smile faded. Finally went to see Crazy Horses live, but they were around about 70 years ago! How? How could you see them live? Fluttershy asked. I mean, I know some of their stuff, but by the time you were probably born, they had split up and died. Firewing chuckled.
How old do you think I am?
About 30? Fluttershy queried. Firewing largely shook his head.
Nice for you to think so, but I'm a little bit older than that.
He said with a rising of a huff. 40? Another shake from Firewing's head. 60? The other pig just shook his head again. You can't be over 80. Fluttershy was down in disbelief.
Firewing shook his head for the final time. If you really want to know.
Fluttershy nodded quickly. Firewing sighed.
I'm 116 years old, Fluttershy.
Fluttershy thought her jaw could detach. It would be running for the hills by now, screaming. Words tried to come out of her mouth, but no avail. Firewing loved the look on her face, though, and found herself on the floor laughing.
Oh, Fluttershy, you crack me up.
He said between breaths. He rose up from the floor and took a seat at the opposite of the yellow Pegasus. Still hadn't moved when Firewing repealed his aids.
I should have mentioned this a bit earlier,
He explained.
but due to the fact that Dragonlords have a small part of dragon DNA in their bloods, our bodies clock slow right down, so that we live at this age at the same rate as dragons age.
He saw the look of confusion on Fireshide's face and groaned.
It means we live a bit longer than normal ponies.
Fireside now really thought her jaw would fall off, and her brain would break out of her skull and run with her jaw. Live longer? So we're immortal? Firewing shook his head.
No ponies are immortal, not even the princesses are. Them and we just live longer and age far slower than others.
How long? Fireside demanded. Firewing shrugged.
The oldest fire Dragonlord lived over 1,000 years. A unicorn he was. You may have heard him, actually.
Fireside didn't hear the rest. Her mind went blank. And the Overlord once more as she tried to process what she'd just been told. 1,000 years? That would mean that she would have to watch her friends, animal friends, her town, dying in chains around her while she had lived on. Now she knew how the princesses must feel. Oh, don't worry, Fluttershy. Twilight's about to catch up. Now let's not start that again! Firewing stopped talking. Firewing saw tears streaming down Fluttershy's face. He walked over and wrapped his legs around her. Fluttershy returned the embrace.
Shh, it's all right, my dear.
He cooed softly, rubbing a hoof down her back.
It's not that bad, really.
Yes, Fluttershy wept. I'll have to watch my friends grow old and die. My animal friends and their families as well. The town I live in. The town would become unrecognizable to me. Why did this happen? Why couldn't I just have a normal life? She buried her head in Firewing's chest once again and continued to cry. They remained like that until Firewing finally spoke up.
I know from experience, it ain't easy being told you'll live longer than your friends, or even some of your family, or the fact that you're part of a warrior order dating back before Equestria. In fact, when I was told, I locked myself away in this very room and cried for hours.
First, I instantly started crying, her head out of her chest. She went to Firewing with a small smile on her face and dried her eyes. Really? You? Firewing merely chuckled.
Oh yes, when I was introduced by my mother to the order nearly 100 years ago, those early days weren't pleasant, but I learned to carry on with life. I might lose many friends in my lifetime, but I know I'll gain hundreds more by the end, and hopefully my memories will be filled with great ones of all my friends. And yes, your hometown will change, but everything changes for the side. We may not be like them at first, but we get used to them. Maybe we'll love them.
Firestone knew why Firewing was right. Changes were always happening in their lives, and she shouldn't shy away from them, but embrace them. Hi, Mikey! This is an important lesson for you! She'll make so many more friends in her now extended lifetime. Well, she hoped anyway. So you can feel a little better already. Maybe it wasn't so bad after all. Thank you, Firewing, she said softly. You're welcome, he said with a loving smile. He sipped the gas for a second and gasped. Why spinach puffs? He led towards the fireplace and dived a hoof under the handle of one of the pots around the table. Phew! He breathed after taking inside.
Save them. And just in time for the look at things.
You know, guys, I'm doing this voice in the style of Liam Neeson, but who here really wants to see Liam Neeson scream out my spinach puffs? Picked him out and gave three to Fluttershy. He smiled at thanks. Fluttershy took the food in front of her with curiosity and caution. She'd never heard of spinach before, and wondered whether or not she would like it. Well, she thought, you'll have to try something new at some point. She gave one a sniff, a blow to cool them down, then went to pick up one in her mouth and started chewing. The taste was exquisite, new and refreshing. She swallowed and felt new energy go from her stomach across her body, her weak legs regaining their strength, and wings beginning to take off on their own. Before she knew it, Fluttershy was diving into the others on her plate, while Firewing looked on with an amused expression.
That good, huh?
He laughed. Fluttershy nodded and swallowed another mouthful. Oh yes, they're gorgeous. Where did you get them?
I brought the plants up for my travels in the south. Beyond your question desert.
Firewing answered.
I haven't had time to cook some in a while. And since we're here, I thought we might have a treat.
The two continued their meals in silence. The only sounds were the crackles of fire and the sound of munching from the two ponies. Firewing? Fluttershy broke the silence.
Yes.
These keys you keep talking about, Fluttershy said. You first mentioned something about them in your diary. Then you said something earlier about them and their involvement with the Dragonlords declining. I was also wondering if they're connected to the nightmares we both had. What are they? Firewing put down his drink and looked at her with solemn eyes.
Around 2,000 years ago, before Celestia and Luna came into this world, a unicorn Dragonlord discovered something horrifying. Not only he, the Primarch, and his captors were well aware of.
What did he discover?
He had a nightmare for the shy, similar to the ones we both had, came to a conclusion which shook him in the order to its very foundations. Hemdar was still alive.
First I guessed in horror. But he's dead. How can Hundar still be alive? Firewing shook his head grimly.
No one is truly certain, but the Dragonlord that discovered this made a theory. Whatever he did to make them the way he became, he transferred a part of his soul to that place for hiding. A while after Hemdar was defeated and supposedly killed, one piece of his soul found its way back to his body, reviving me.
Oh shit, it's a dragon lich! An ancient black dragon lich! We're dead! Firewing paused before asking.
Now tell me, Fluttershy, what do keys do?
Keys unlock things?
Yes,
It took Fluttershy a while, but realized it would guess. They like things as well.
exactly.
Firewing beamed.
So the unicorn set about creating these 5 keys, each an enchantment that would weaken Hemdar's magical abilities. All 5 were disabled them together, making them slightly easier to take down. I had 3 at the moment. Just need to get to the 4th and find the 5th. Only then will we know the location of Hemdar's tomb and take him down.
And exactly how are we going to do that? Fluttershy asked.
With these.
Fine, said Firewing, picking up his right-legged sword bracelet, where the blade inside shot out into the air. The blade was dark metallic, with ragged edges like sharp teeth.
Drake Draconian for dragon-bane swords. Looks old, but is sharper than anything on the planet, and can pierce through the tough hide of a dragon with ease. This should take down Hemdar. At least I hope so.
And if not? He remained silent for a moment.
Not, then the world will burn before the end of this year.
Grave silence fell between the two. So not only, Fluttershy thought, am I a dragon lord, but one of 2 points that could save the world from an evil dragon that wants to burn it. It sounded like something out of an old fairy tale. And yet, it was true. Fluttershy couldn't deny it was a lie. She had seen Hemdar himself and knew full well what horror he could unleash onto the world if he was allowed to escape his tomb. Fluttershy looked up from the ground, stared at Firewing. So, How long have we got?
Firewing shrugged. To be honest, I don't know. It's been my belief, as well as Starswell the Bearder's belief, that Hamdard knew he couldn't beat us in an open fight if he escaped earlier. He's been biding his time for centuries.
Wait! Fluttershy interrupted him. Starswell the Bearded was a Dragonlord?
Yeah, baby, I was.
Just in case anybody was curious, the difference between my Liam Neeson and my Ian McKellen voices. Fluttershy knew the name of the famous unicorn from Twilight Sparkle. Now he stopped talking about him. He was arguably the world's most famous unicorn, creator of over 200 spells, and was one of the founders of the Camelot City and School of Magic. Now it seemed she stumbled on Star Wars' secret hobby, fighting evil.
Oh, yes, Fireman replied, sending her back in. He was the Primarch of the Dragonlords for a long time before he abdicated. And was also the one who discovered Heimdall's survival. Also explains why he was able to live so long, from the few hundred years before Equestria to the third Equestrian era.
Fluttershy nodded her head in agreement. Always baffled Twilight about why he was able to live so long, and even baffled Celestia and Luna Twilight had said to her once. But now Fluttershy knew why. I had to say she found new admiration for the powerful unicorn.
And anyway, he said with a small frown, how did you find my diary?
Eep! She squeaked. She lowered herself to the ground. I'm sorry, she muttered quietly. Just really wanted to know where you were going, and I had to look through to see where you might have headed. Please don't be mad at me.
So that's why she managed to find me easily. He thought. Anyway, chuckled. It's okay for the side. The initiative on your part, I must say. But I want to know, where's my diary now?
Oh, it's with me, Fluttershy replied. I took it with me when I left Canterlot to see if I could use it to learn more about you. I'll get it out for you. She got off her chair and walked over to where her saddlebags rested. She opened up the right pouch and found the books nestled inside. She picked them up with her teeth and laid them on the table in front of the other Pegasus. Here you go, she said with a smile, leaned back into her seating position. Firewing stared at his book, the dark red cover with flame on the front. He saw joy in his eyes. He moved the book over to the next one. Both he and Fluttershy gasped. I was shocked, the former in a mix of surprise and horror. Below the diary rested Fluttershy's medallion, with her name etched on the side. Oh my, Fluttershy said as he reached over to take it. That's mine. Was the kind stuck between the two books. Sorry. Can I have it back now, please?
Where did you get this?
He asked hoarsely, looking at the medallion with wide, disbelieving eyes. Mother Caris at the orphanage gave it to me when I was 14. Now please, give it back to me, she asked pleadingly. Firewing still ignored her, putting the pieces together. Her name, age, looks, and the fact that she was a Dragonlord, and now this. It was now impossible that this pony wasn't the same one. He threw the medallion back to Fluttershy's house. Praised it like a fool would embrace a precious teddy bear. Firewing, meanwhile, stared at her with wide eyes. It was both sheer joy and sheer shock.
I was beginning I would never see this day,
He said, making Fluttershy look up and stare into his eyes.
the day that my daughter would come back into my life.
P.S. I read the story before, knew that was coming. So yeah, was anybody really fooled by his joke? But seriously, put down in the comments, who saw this coming? Firewing expected many emotions to be fired this way with this union, if it ever came. It was mostly expected anger. Anger for abandoning her. He would accept it. At least he expected joy and sadness. What he didn't expect was Fluttershy staring at him, void of emotion. She would have just said something normal to her. While Firewing wanted to say to her, do anything to break the tension. In Fluttershy's head, however, a whirlwind of activity took place. Mixed of emotions raced through her. Joy, sorrow, confusion, mostly anger. Firewing leaned over and sighed.
I know it'll be difficult to understand at first.
Darn right it's difficult to understand! Fluttershy bellowed, making Firewing dart backwards. But it's easily remedied because it's not true. You can't be my father. You just can't.
But I am Fluttershy. I should have recognized your name as the daughter I left.
Abandon is the word I believe. Fluttershy shouted, her anger beginning to rise as her voice cracked. My father died. My real father would never abandon me by choice. How can you say such a horrible thing?
It's true, Firewing murmured.
It is true. What about my mother? She yelled. What does she have to say in my abandonment?
Firewing found his voice again and leaned towards Fireside's face. Your mother had nothing to do with me leaving you at the orphanage. I only did what I did because I love you. Firewing shook her head, fighting back tears of anger that were threatening to spill.
You never loved me. You couldn't have loved me if you left me there. What kind of love do you have for me if you left me there?
Firewing leaned back at his side, eyes watering. I do love you, Fluttershy. I always have, even after all this time. It's just that sometimes we've got to be cruel to be kind. Fluttershy's breathing became steadied as she leaned back at Sock. She recalled her use of the same words she used to Bruman after she dragged her friends, left us sleeping into trots to go after him. She started shaking her head, stepping back towards the door.
I need some air,
she muttered before galloping out of the room, slamming the door behind her, running up the stairs at a fast sprint. There were tears in her eyes, but she wouldn't cry, not for this. She only had one of the tears in her eyes erased, and it was back at the orphanage, the place her father had dumped her in. She kicked the door down with her hose and ran until she was at the edge of the tower. She placed her hand to one of the Merlins and fought back tears that threatened her eyes, which she won. She looked up and with a gasp saw her surroundings. In front of her, in the west, was the vast plains of frozen steppes, while on the horizon was the ragged mountains, towering structure dominating the skylines. Behind her was a small muddy path that led deep into the Horskin highlands. While some of the mountains looked like an easy climb, others were too steep, but most were deceptive. Along the path, tall pine trees with dark green leaves, beside them, singing of birds could be heard, the calls of other animals, though it was hard to make out due to the noise. First, I rested her head on top of one of the Merlins, and sat silently, closing her eyes. The headache now had returned and felt it throbbing against her skull. She opened her eyes and felt something land on her nose. It was a small bushy robin that looked at her with concerned eyes.
Hello, Mrs. Robin,
she greeted with Birdwell's sad smile. The robin made a few tweets. Most the loving faces understood.
Oh, where do I begin? In one day, I've been told I'm part of an order that specializes in killing things. A great evil dragon is returning from the dead to incinerate the world. I'm going to live longer than most ponies. Someone allowed the pony I came here to look for claims he's my father. Now I don't know what to do. Whether to just run back home like a coward or go to him and talk it over.
She fizzled a heavy sigh and laid her head on once more on the Merlin. She looked in the eyes of the robin.
What do you think I should do?
The robin started tweeting and chirping, while Fireside listened intently.
You think I should talk to him? Tweet, 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 tweet.
Fireside sighed.
You're right. I shouldn't run away from my problems. If anything, that would just make them worse.
She smiled at the robin.
Thank you, Mrs. Robin.
The bird bowed her head, took off her Fireside's nose, disappearing into the thick canopy of the trees.
I'll give it an hour,
she said to herself.
Now go back down there and demand some answers.
She rested her head on one of the Merlins and listened to the birds. Around half an hour later, Firewing emerged from the tower. He was clean-shaven, and a small flock of hair covered his eyes had gone. Beautiful day, isn't it? He commented. Fireside whisked her head around, looked down, and then turned it back with a whoop. Firewing's ears went down as he walked up alongside Yellow Pegasus. He sighed. Look, what's a sigh? I understand you won't forgive me. I can't even forgive myself. So I'm not going to say I'm sorry or beg for your forgiveness. But just know I did what I did because I loved you so much. Fireside ignored him, stared blankly towards the Riding Mountains, wondering where her former friends she had to keep reminding herself, were at the moment. How much she wanted them with her. She didn't notice the medallion resting in front of it. You dropped it on your way out. I was wondering if you ever tried opening it. Firewing asked. Fireside merely glanced down.
I can't open,
she said quietly.
It's too thin.
Firewing smiled. True. But like I said earlier, you just need the right words. He turned towards the medallion and whispered Draconian, a pipe. The medallion split in half, making Fireside jump out of her couch. When she recovered, she looked at what was inside and gasped. It was an old picture with Firewing,
and a Pegasus mare on his right side. She was beautiful, a dark gray coat with a blue mane and tail in the same style as her own. Her bright, moderate cyan eyes seemed to shine like sapphires, and a joyful smile was across her face. It didn't take Fluttershy long to notice she was heavily pregnant as well. Pregnant, she realized. With her. She was almost at a loss for words. Is that mine?
Yes, that is your mother, Fluttershy,
Firewing said, failing to notice the tears in his eyes as he looked at the picture he hadn't seen in over 20 years. What was her name?
Rosemary,
He answered.
her name was Rosemary.
She Fluttershy placed the medallion to her chest. Rosemary, she breathed with a small smile. The name sounded like one an angel would have been given. She looked back at the picture and from her mother to her father. Firewing just looked the same as he did today, only with slightly less hair on his head. She couldn't deny it any further. Firewing was her father, and although she wasn't angry to know him, she was still confused as to why she was left there. Ask him later, she thought. Firewing looked away, unable to look at the picture of his love anymore. Instead, he looked to where the sun was.
Well,
He said,
the sun is on its way down. I'd best get going. Brought you enough food for visitors to get you back home.
Fluttershy looked up and turned to face him. Firewing nodded.
Yes, I understand you don't want to be a Dragonlord, nor do you probably want to see me again. So I believe it's best we part ways.
Then he turned around to leave. Stop! Firewing cried out. Firewing stopped and turned to face her. I want to help. I won't be able to go to sleep knowing Hendar's out there threatening the world, and I don't want you to leave me again. So let me help. Please. You know, once again, we have Fluttershy actually being proactive and trying to help somebody because it's the right thing to do. My God! Here's a Gaia! Mikan, this is so hard to understand! Firewing thought for a moment. First, I came with him. We not only had to concentrate on finding the keys, but now look after his daughter and make sure she gets home safe. Patiently and reluctantly, he nodded.
I appreciate your help. Thank you.
First, I grinned before Firewing could stop her. I jumped and hugged him. Firewing was taking it back for a second, but he returned to gesture and wrapped a leg around his friend.
No, he thought. More than a friend. She is my daughter.
You know what this is? This is Sarada reuniting with Sasuke. This is making my heart warm. Thank you, Vic.
Come on then. Let's get that stuff and get going. We need to cover a lot of ground before tonight.
He said, letting go of the old paces and trying down the stairs. Fluttershy crawled quickly behind. Okay, Daddy, she whispered. Firewing couldn't wipe the smile off his face. Now, Vic, I've had bad experiences with OCs like this. I end up loving them, I end up thinking them was great characters, and then, just when I fall deeply for them, the author decides to be a jerk and kill them. So please, fanfic, I beg you, do not kill him. Please don't kill Firewing. Please don't do it. No!